Friends, I want to take 4 or 5 minutes with something about how we approach the Bible. So if you trust me with 4 or 5 minutes of talking about our approach to the Bible, then I want to say something about it. But I need your 4 or 5 minutes to do it. So big caveat qualifier, that's what I'm asking you for. Now let me start with this somewhat provocative claim, or what I take to be a provocative claim. Let me say the Bible is not true. It is not true in the way that you may think it is true. But guess what? There's a flip side. The Bible is not false in the way that you take the Bible to be false. The Bible is neither true nor is it false in the way that most people characterize the truth or falsity of the Bible. I've tried to make this claim in this blog post that I just put out on my Substack yesterday on reading the Bible. Follow me so you get me to 1,000 followers so I can please just put the damn link in the bio. Now I'm going to invite the principle of charity here just a little bit. We're going to move a little bit quickly, and I will probably get a little imprecise in my claims, but I think the overall payoff will be worth it, or so I hope. I also want to say that those who are familiar with biblical interpretation, with commentary, with hermeneutics, with exegesis, etc., that some of these things will be familiar to you. So this is more of like a general, for educational purposes only style post that I just hope reaches people where they are. Let me characterize a couple of ways to approach the biblical literature, okay? And these are the ways that I want to start to pick on after I characterize them. Let's imagine that one position is that the Bible is God-breathed, that the people, the places, the events happened or existed as described in the biblical literature, okay? Take that as one view, the God-breathed view. Now let's characterize what I think many people assume to be the opposite of that position, and let's call this the flying spaghetti monster view. So this view says that the people, the places, the events, the things in the Bible are false. They did not happen. They did not occur in the world as described within the biblical literature. In the most extreme characterization of this view, it is the case, people would say, that taking the Bible seriously in some way is akin to studying the flying spaghetti monster. Now, I am a human-authored, source-critical proponent myself, and I don't think it's a flying spaghetti monster. And so I don't want to just say these are conflated, that these are equivalent, that if you think the Bible is human-authored, thereby you think it is the flying spaghetti monster. There is tremendously more nuance than that. What I'm trying to articulate for us right here in this moment is that there's a God-breathed view, events happened as described. There's a spaghetti monster view, all events as described did not happen. It is fiction. It's a fantasy book, okay? Then there's a middle way. In the middle way, people will say things like, well, Noah and his ark didn't really happen as described, but there was a great flood, and the great flood is described in other ancient literature, and it's kind of in the Bible too. That's because middle way people may say that, okay? Now, what I think, right, here's the claim that I want to make first, is that here on TikTok, and let me just say to you that I myself, I am low-tier TikTok Bible talent. That's my slogan. If you want the, all right, let's see it, then my t-shirt will be low-tier TikTok Bible talent. And I'm fine with it, okay? I'm fine with it. But what I want to get us onto is this idea that these views exhaust the biblical dialogue on TikTok. It's God-breathed, it's flying spaghetti monster, or it's this, I think very, progressive Christianity holds views like this, right? There was an ancient flood, it's talked about in the Bible, but that doesn't mean that there was Noah as an ark, right? So that sort of thing. Now, what I want to say is that all of those views, they are not dissimilar in the way that people think them to be dissimilar. People may think, well, you're either God-breathed or you're human-authored. But what I argue to you, what I would like to submit in this video, is that all of those views, this is a framework, this is a box, okay? That's what I'm trying to do, making a rectangle. That all those views are locked inside the same interpretive framework. See, the interpretive framework that's being applied here is a factive framework. To nod to my philosophy crew on the app, this is conceiving of the Bible as expressing bivalent propositions. And I want to suggest a more non-cognitivist view. See, I do not think that the Bible is attempting to make factive claims. Now, can I apply that generally or categorically across all of the biblical literature? Well, no, of course not. I would be making the same error that I'm about to accuse others of making. So no, I can't apply by and large this view that all biblical authors are not attempting to make factive claims about the world. But I do think it is the case that the Bible's project is not, first and foremost, to make truth claims about the world. I just don't think describing reality in a way that it is either true or false is a project of the Bible. And I think we can motivate some arguments for that. I think one way that we can motivate the argument is to look at particular Bible passages themselves. The apocalyptic literature, even some of the prophetic literature. This is prophetic literature and apocalyptic literature. Tremendous imagery, tremendous visions. Those visions are to motivate an idea of cosmic justice or something like this. But in no way is Revelation, as an example, attempting to describe the world as it is. It's just not doing that. The parables in the gospel accounts, your faith is not a mustard seed, right? It's not attempting to describe the world as it is in truth claims. When Nicodemus is in dialogue with Jesus in the fourth gospel, and he says, how can somebody be born again? Do I crawl back into the womb? Clearly, that's not what someone would say, right? This is symbolism used to motivate an argument by the Johannine author. So one way that we can pick on the idea that the Bible is not attempting to make truth claims is just by appeal to what is actually in the text itself. Another way to motivate a similar answer by appeal to the text is to note the multiple source documents. There are multiple authors, multiple sources from multiple historical periods, from multiple cultural contexts, and this is what you've heard described as the multivocality of the text. The Bible is not univocal, not one perspective, not one voice throughout the text. Multiple authors, multiple source documents. So to make a claim that the Bible is attempting to describe the world in truth claims, then you'd have to make that argument for every single individual author and source document. By another appeal to the Bible itself. That there's no instruction within the Bible for how the text is to be read. Sure, maybe there are commandments, covenant codes, and ritual purity, and things like that, right? Well, it says right here, God commands this. But that is not a command about how the Bible is to be read. You cannot start at Genesis and read to Revelation and then extract from that some instruction for how to read the biblical literature. And so I think by many appeals to the text itself, we can dismantle the idea that the Bible is in the business of rendering bivalent propositions about the world. The Bible is not attempting to make truth claims. And let's look at that framework, right? God-breathed people say the Bible is true. The Bible describes the world and the Bible is true. Spaghetti monster people say the Bible make claims about the world and those claims are false. Middleweight people say it's not Noah's Ark, but there was a flood. The Bible makes claims about the world that are only approximately true. Not fully true, but not fully false. They're approximately true in some way. There was a flood, right? There might not have been Noah, and maybe we won't find giraffe bones 2 by 2, but there was something that happened, right? That the Bible is attempting to latch on to. So I think all of these views that I do think exhaust the Bible dialogue on this app. I think that people would say those are the views that are available. Now, what I suggest to you is that we can resist that interpretive framework by appeal to the arguments that I've sort of glossed or at least gestured toward here. Multiple source documents, multiple genres of material, that there's no reading guide for the Bible within the biblical literature itself. I suggest the whole idea of this factive framework that the Bible is attempting to describe reality as it is. I think we can jettison that whole framework. The God-breathed people are wrong. The spaghetti people are wrong, right? We can just jettison the whole interpretive framework that is imposing on the text a commitment to describing reality as it is. Reject the factive framework. Instead, let's think about other frameworks that are available to us. What is your favorite song? Does your favorite song describe literally what reality is? No, probably not, right? Rather, there's some emotional, experiential connection that speaks a truth to you about that song that is not a factive truth about the world. So yes, this is hermeneutics, this is exegesis, but what I'm helping the general TikTok viewer to think about is what if we were just to get rid of the whole notion that the Bible is either true or false or something that is approximately true, and rather treat it like our favorite song. It is experientially true in a non-factive way. Peace.